to Secret Vlog X, the internet discussion show where anime is serious business. Over the coming weeks and further episodes of the show, we will be discussing the notable anime intellectual property, Cowboy Bebop. For this inaugural episode, we will be discussing the first 3 episodes, Asteroid Blues, Stray Dog Strut, and Honky Tonk Women. We can edit that out.
I think we should leave it in.
Leave it.
Yeah, sorry, I had an error message. So I think we should probably introduce ourselves. So, gentlemen.
I'm Mike, and I'm pretty new to anime.
I'm Calum and I'm an alcoholic.
That's true.
I'm Alan, I travel through time and fight crime.
That's awesome. Can we get that in a t-shirt?
Yes, we shall.
And Greg's on the camera. Hi, Greg.
Hi Greg. Greg's helping us out today.
Yes, mad props to him.
My props to Greg. And his mother. Word to your mother.
So should we talk a little bit first about like what the sort of TV series is?
Well, perhaps we should, yes. Cowboy Bebop is effectively a modern western. It's set in outer space. It involves a group of bounty hunters doing some bounty hunting. It's got a strong kind of action comedy vibe going through it. There's a lot of references to kind of classic gangster films, classic, sort of contemporary westerns as well. It's a very kind of, almost like kind of an American series in a way, even though it's originating in Japan. It has a very kind of American vibe to it. Even through the musical taste is quite heavily influenced by jazz. There's a lot of references to jazz music throughout the series. And that very much sets the tone for it, I think, really. Should we kick off into the first episode?
Yep, Asteroid Blues.
So in episode 1, we're introduced to Spike Spiegel, who is a bounty hunter with a slightly sort of shady past, and his partner Jet Black, who we'll come back to a bit later on. And they fly through space in their ship, the Bebop, where they suddenly discover they have no money for food. And so in the first episode, they encounter a pair of desperados. I'll come back to why I say desperados in a minute. But they encounter a pair of bounty jumpers who are effectively trying to escape from the local mafia with a massive haul of expensive designer drugs. And basically, the mafia do not like this very much.
Red eye.
Bad men.
So I was just going to say that this was like the first time I ever watched like a sort of an anime television show. We've obviously done some double feature and I've watched like some of the films, but I was really like grabbed by it like in the first 10 seconds of it. That little sort of introduction just before the opening credits.
Yeah, because it very briefly runs through, kind of get a sense of what Spike's past may have involved. But again, we'll come back to that later.
Yeah, but instantly as well, it's like I was just completely like grabbed by the level of the animation and everything. But and I also felt like I was saying this, off camera, that Joss Whedon must have watched this, religiously, because Firefly just borrows so much from it. But I really enjoyed the first episode.
Calum, this isn't the first time you've seen the show, obviously. So
No, this is my 4th rewatch, I think, of the kind of the whole 26 episodes. The great thing about Bebop is it just has this unique ability to you can drop in at just about any point. There's very, very kind of few narratives that run throughout the whole series of episodes, and as a result of that, you can kind of, once you've got your kind of 4 main characters established, which has happened by the 10th episode, you can kind of drop into any other episodes, which is a really kind of great thing. It allows you to watch it quite casually, and you can kind of jump back and forward with it.
I think it's interesting that the narrative seems to be so relaxed that it can introduce the characters at such a slow pace as that. I think, as you say, I think it's... I can't remember when the last of the main cast comes in, but
episode 10.
Is it actually episode 10? Yeah, I would have thought it was sooner, but you could well be right. So this is about... I'm not sure how many times I've seen the series through now, but certainly I've seen of all the episodes, this is the one I've seen the most number of times, and I think it kind of perfectly encapsulates everything that's good about the series in this 1.5 hour. You know, you are very much getting the entire series in one shot here.
So it's not even less than half an hour.
Yeah,
It's like 20 minutes or something.
We should preface this though by saying that this is like a kind of simul-watch, so like
Yes.
there's going to be spoilers, like
Yeah, that's
Oh
a
yeah,
good
yeah.
point,
We've already kind of.
you know, so
Yes, we would encourage you to watch along with us for this, certainly.
so but in the first episode, I really like enjoyed the story about the man and the woman on the run with this drug red eye, but you know, I really loved the point where you think this, you really sympathise with this woman and you think she's pregnant. You know, and all of a sudden she's sort of like cut across the stomach and all of these
all the vials come
of the
flying
drug,
out. Yeah, which is, I think it's quite a nice. It's kind of brutal, but at the same time, there's a certain beauty of it when you see them kind of floating off into zero gravity.
Yeah, it really annoyed me though that it reminded me of something. Reminded me of like a film where somebody done something like that.
There probably is. I would not be surprised. I mean, the one that I didn't realise until relatively recently is that the two main characters in this, Asimov and his girlfriend, who I don't think they ever name her, they're actually based on Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek in Desperado, which is probably why I called them Desperados without thinking about it. But yeah, I mean, I think the series is filled with little references and kind of sort of pop culture in-jokes like that. And I think it's one of the things that really kind of elevates the series is just that you can enjoy it just going back and looking for those little kind of moments like that.
The funny thing about Asteroid Blues is it's been as it is the first ever. It's one of the few ones that I can think of that's not directly named as a result of a song. Very, and a great number of the episodes are named after named after a song, like Honky Tonk Women and Wild Horses is one as well. There's quite a few Rolling Stones ones.
Do we have anything else to add kind of on episode 1? Or should we?
Well, just as that sort of general point, I love the whole sort of, it's like, Japan does Americana, and again, sort of talking about Firefly, one of the big things in Firefly is that it's got a sort of acoustic folk blues sort of soundtrack to it, and Bebop obviously has that, and I think that's where Whedon must have been influenced by that, because I really enjoyed the soundtrack to it.
Yeah, I think the soundtrack is one of the biggest features of the show. I mean, I think it's probably one of the best selling anime soundtracks, certainly in the Western countries than I can think of anything else being. I mean, there are lots of box sets of
Yoko Kanno and the seatbelts, so anyone wants to hunt them down.
I couldn't remember those. The television program they watched that shows like who's on the run and all that. Was that in the first episode?
Yes, it was. Because that's usually always how the bunties usually how the bounties are always kind of introduced to them. For that, or it's always played in to kind of take the piss out of them when they fail. To just kind of rub it in. That girl that just cannot seem to get her jacket closed.
But it was like, I mean, at the end of the episode, that moment where both of them realise that the woman and man that are on the run realise that, the woman realises that they're not getting away, and I was watching it and I really was sort of bowled over by the fact that it's kind of like a quirky, fun TV series from what I've seen so far, but there was like a lot of heart just in like 10, 15 seconds at the end.
Basically what was just wanted to get in before we move on to the second episode was that I think that you get a little hint as to Spike's character as well, because I mean, I think although he's quite sort of happy-go-lucky throughout most of the episode, I think you get a little clue that he's quite harsh to the woman when he's speaking to her at the fueling station. Because he's quite matey towards her until suddenly he sort of turns around and tells her exactly why he's there. And again, I think that kind of encapsulates his character. He's got this slightly malicious streak of it. One other thing is, Mike, there's a type of, you might know this one, there's a type of space colony that kind of recurs in science fiction. It's like a cylindrical thing where the landmass. Do you know what that's called? Because I was thinking
biosphere.
Is that it? I think
not.
that's
Are you talking about the one that revolves?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's in 2001: A Space Odyssey as well.
That's what I was thinking, because I was wondering if that's what the...
We should know, because I'm sure we've had this discussion
We
before.
probably have. It's so embarrassing. But,
it's not masterminds, specialist subjects.
We'll find out.
Special subjects, space colonies.
Anyway, we move on to
Yes, we should really move on to the second episode.
Move on to the second episode.
Yes.
Right.
So, Stray Dog Strut. Essentially, Spike is chasing a man who has a briefcase in classic kind of MacGuffin type fashion. Now, it doesn't become immediately apparent what is in the briefcase, but we get quite an interesting lead up to this, that we find out there's a little doggy inside there. And the dog is rather valuable to certain people.
Why was a little dog?
It's just the way you said it.
There's a little doggy.
There's a little doggy inside this briefcase. Sorry, carry on.
What do they do with the little doggy?
Yes. So effectively the dog is worth big bucks to certain people, but there seems to be a time limit on it. Is that just the way he said little dog?
I know, it's the fact that he's got this dog in a briefcase and wants loads of money, so the whole concept of it is just absolutely nuts.
Well, I think that is, you kind of hit the nail on the head. That what I had forgotten is that although I've seen Asteroid Blues quite a number of times, I've only seen this episode I think about once, and I'd forgotten just how funny this one actually is.
Yeah,
I thought it was
so
really,
nice.
really funny. Yeah.
Abdul Hakim, isn't it the big?
Yeah, he has plastic surgery and somehow comes back with an afro. Yeah.
That's true, yeah. As we would all wish.
Yeah.
Also, this is the first episode that really shows off his Jeet Kune Do. So you
That's
kind of
true.
saw him practicing in the first episode, but he got his arse kicked by that other guy.
Yeah.
But no, he does beat him. He does beat him in the first episode. He does fight him.
Yeah.
Right, that's just absolutely.
Well, I think you see it in more detail than you do in the first one. Yeah, I mean, I think in the first episode it was more like just like a straight up brawl. But this time around it feels more like a kind of choreographed proper demonstration of the martial art. Yeah.
But I think this is the first one where I felt like it was as if they were going to build a crew.
Yeah.
You know, and they're going to gather people because they gathered the dog.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's going to happen for a certain number of
that's
episodes.
pretty much it exactly.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. Like I say, it was funny. You know, when you had like the animal dealer and all that.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There's so many little details in this episode that I think are just great. I mean, like the animal dealer, the pet store owner woman has the little tortoise on her head. It's just little things like that. And even just the fact that Hakim swipes the car with just married, he steals the wedding car effectively to give chase to the van.
I think as well, like just the idea of them sort of saving the dog as well. Like you sort of get to see a good sort of a softer side to the cowboys. You know, you get to see. I think
Spike doesn't really warm to the dog instantly. I think you see Jet really takes a shine.
But the thing is though, you say that about him, but there's a moment where it's like he could leave the dog and he goes.
That's true.
And goes and gets the dog.
Well, he does later on say that dogs are one of his 3 most hated things.
Dogs. I know, but is it not one of those things? It's not one of those things where you got the character like saying one thing, but really deep down he means another, because he's like chasing Abdul, and then he's like kind of he goes back for the dog because it looks like the dog might die, and he goes and saves it, and then it sort of cuts to the sort of coda where they've got the dog there on the ship, and he's saying how much he hates it and all that, but
it's kind of the classic lovable rogue.
Does he use the swordfish in the first episode?
He does.
He does, right, okay, so I'm trying to find firsts for this episode and failing miserably.
What's the sword?
That's his red plate.
He does, because that's what he saves the dog with.
Yeah.
So what you're saying
is it this one as well?
The swordfish, It's the swordfish, the hammerhead. The hammerhead's the name of Jet's ship.
Yeah.
Is this the first sighting of that, or was that the next one? No, I think is this the first one we see Jet's ship in?
The hammerhead, I think it
I think it might be.
Yeah, because I remember him coming in and something towards the end.
But the funny thing is, though, I think is the second episode was lighter. I didn't feel it had the same heart that the first one had, just because of that.
Is it because it's just played for
look,
laughs?
that look in the end between Spike and the girl, you know. I think that it didn't have the same sort of heart to it that the first episode had. So I would say that I enjoyed the first episode more, but I still enjoyed the second one. The second one was more kind of, right, this is kind of what it's going to be like, you know, in a lot of ways, you know. So I did enjoy it. Good action scenes in it and all that, you know, which again I'm kind of blown away by, because I suppose in the sort of you know, animated medium, you know, you can do so much more, you know, for your money.
I mean, I think as well, you know, again, coming back to the kind of the little details in this episode, but I just like the kind of ongoing sort of dynamic between the two people that are driving, well, the two men that are driving the van. You know, the one of them, you know, keeps speaking to him, and the other guy keeps saying, "Yeah, it seems that way." And I think it's almost like the show kind of credits you with making up. You know, you can kind of sense the punchline coming, and it's almost like the show kind of acknowledges that, yeah, you already know where this is going, so they don't really bother ending the joke in a way. They kind of just credit you with having the intelligence to get, you know, where that would have gone to. But also just a little sort of throwaway, and unless anyone else has anything more to add, I think in the dub, the old man fortune teller is voiced by William Frederick Knight, who is the voice of Chief Aramaki in Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, nice.
So again, that's something that I would have missed otherwise, but just coming back to it again this time, I was like, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I've only seen 2 episodes dubbed. I've only ever seen it in Japanese.
Well, I watched the first 2 episodes in Japanese, and then I watched the third one with the dub, and I have to say, like, I thought the dub was excellent.
Well, that's what I was going to do. We have anything else to add about the second episode, or should we move on to
move on?
Well, in that case, that's probably a good time to say. So, Mike, this was the first one you watched up. Callum, is it? You're saying you've only ever seen 2 episodes dubbed, was it?
Yeah, the last 2.
The final 2, right? Yeah. So, I mean, how do you feel the 2 compare, just generally? I mean,
see, it's very different, because like the last 2 episodes are pretty, you know, like action packed.
Yeah.
I haven't watched them yet, so
I probably should have seen
neither possibly some of our viewers, so I'm gonna kind of keep it in. I might need to do a spoiler, and you might need to restrain me. The dub seemed good. There was a really stupid reason why I watched the dub for the last 2. I can't remember what it was, but no, I like the dub. Not the dub. Sorry, I like the subs. You're confusing me. Without even trying to, I can tell you're doing that little thing that they do from the Village of the Damned, and you're trying to get in my mind.
I'm trying to do scanners.
That's a brick wall. But yeah, okay, that's totally put us off track. Yeah, I like this sub, but the dub is good too, which is quite good, because quite often the dubs totally miss the point.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though, is like, I know it's kind of, you get a lot of people that are a bit elitist about watching something that's subbed, or something that's dubbed, and there's like, oh, you need to watch it with the original dialogue and all that. But I have to say that, you know, depending on what it is, if they can do a good proper dub, I think if you don't speak that language, it does drag you into it much more. You know,
it works better. I think it's like Bebop's got a very whimsical nature, and I think the Japanese works with that. But they did, even with the dub, they did a good job of keeping the feeling of Bebop, because I think like shows like Ghost in the Shell, and particularly like the second Ghost in the Shell film, when Bato's talking all the time, the dub is so preachy.
Really?
Well, that's what I thought.
As the script?
Innocence. Have you seen Innocence?
I've not actually seen Innocence.
Right, it just like he spends the whole time like quoting philosophers and everything, which is all in it anyway. But the voice actor does everything in such a monotone, as Bato speaks anyway. But it's just like going on and on and on. It's just like, mate, tell a joke.
So episode 3, Honky Tonk Women. This is the first appearance of another one of our major characters, Faye Valentine, voiced in the dub by Amanda Wynne Lee. who I think one thing I would say is that I prefer her voice in dub over the subtitled version. I have to say I can't remember offhand who plays her in the original
She's
Japanese.
kind of whiny.
Yeah, I think the English voice suits her better, to my mind. Not to slight the original Japanese, but I think the kind of she has a sort of lower tone in the English version, which I think suits the character better than the.
Like Barry White.
Not that low, but forget about it. But yeah, the episode plot again is almost kind of a classic Hitchcock kind of thing in a way. You've got some mistaken identity vibe that when Spike and Jet visit a space casino to do some space gambling, they encounter Faye there as one of the dealers. She's heavily in debt to the mob, and they're trying to get her to take part in a scheme where she must procure for them a valuable poker chip that contains a special code for unlocking things. So again, where do you feel you were in this one?
It was the most complex out of the three. You know,
yeah.
It was quite a step up actually, with like a lot of different things going on in the plot, and I think it probably kept my interest more because, like in the second episode, although you had the case, you found out early on, or you kind of knew early on kind of what was in the case, and there was at least an animal that was in the case. Whereas I felt like there was a mystery going on about why they wanted the chip until quite late on in the episode, and I think that sort of kept it going. And I think as well it was kind of like I know we've talked about how the series is really influenced by American cinema, but it was like that sort of relationship between the lovable rogue, you know, like male lead, and then the female lead who's every bit is equal, you know, and like I enjoyed that.
Faye is kind of a curious one. I think she's not always given the most kind of flattering portrayal in the series. You know, she's often kind of a bit flighty and a bit kind of sort of mistrustworthy.
She's very much out for herself.
Yeah, that's true. She does seem very much geared towards self-preservation, if you like. But at the same time, I mean, I think she is portrayed as an extremely capable character. You know, she's quite a strong female lead. I still feel for the series. But yeah, I mean, I think again, still just the little details I feel that make this episode. I mean, I like I think we get kind of an insight into Jet as a character. That not only do we find out just in the sort of passing reference that he used to be a police officer, but we also see that he is willing to take his vision of Charlie Parker from a dream that that he saw Charlie Parker tell him to bet the last of their money in the casino. So he actually goes ahead and does this, and even more, he seems to do quite well out of it as well.
Do you get to see how much of a sort of kick-ass fighter Spike is when he sort of takes on the casino's security guards?
Yeah, particularly like the little fight in space at the end of the episode.
Yeah,
that was.
That was good. Yeah, that was good. I know I keep mentioning it, but that was quite the spacesuit he was wearing and all that was quite similar to a character in Firefly. There's just so many things from it. I think just the overall vibe of it, everything just.
It had quite a 2001 feel to it, the spacesuit as well.
I mean, again, it was
and especially that revolving.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, the kind of revolving casino roulette wheel space station.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in Space 2001 that was used to generate gravity in the ship.
I think
that design is something that's actually like not just in science fiction. That's something that I think was was early on like proposed, like because you see it in so many different things about how to try and somehow generate G's so that you can get some sort of artificial gravity.
Well, no, it's worth mentioning because I mean you see that they have artificial gravity in the space station. So.
Yeah.
The gravity in Bebop is kind of a weird one because sometimes you see them walking about fine, and then they'll throw something inside the Bebop and it'll just float like it would if it was in Zero G. I can't remember the episode, but was it not the chip? There was one bit in the Bebop where he was standing like he would normally, and he threw the chip and it was the Zero G inside the Bebop. I think he did.
Could well do.
Could that not be like a sort of stylized thing where they just slow it down?
They've done it a few times.
Could they not stylized it a few times?
It's possible. It's possible, Michael.
One thing.
Can't compete with that. Can't compete.
It's going to be a duel at the end of the episode.
Muskets at dawn.
Yes. But yeah, no. One thing I did like that they brought back in this episode was that you get the sort of recurring theme with the three.
Sorry, someone on a bike outside, a really crap bike, just pulled up and it just went, oh, was it that? There's a guy on the bike there, and I just thought it was his bike.
It was his little horn.
Just went.
Let's not take away from the fact that it is actually a crap bike.
It is a crap
Sorry,
bike.
mate, it was a crap bike. Direct quote.
So do we have anything else to say about the episode?
Well, I think this might be the first one where we hear that Jet has named the dog Ein, but I think that did they call the dog Ein in the previous episode?
Yeah, was the dog not originally called Ein?
I'm not sure.
No,
I can't remember.
Data Dog, was it not?
Yeah, I think just
Possibly. I don't know. Anyway.
I think that's. Do we have anything else to add, or are we done?
All I'll say is I really enjoyed watching the 3 episodes, and if like we said before, this is supposed to be like a sort of simul-watch, so
we would invite you to watch along with us as we go through these. The next episode will cover episodes 4 through 6. If you have anything to add about the first 3 episodes, please leave a comment or mention something in the forums. And if you've got anything you'd like to kind of discuss with you on the show, we'll mention it in the next program.
If you've got a similar tweed jacket to Alan, post a video response, pretend to be Alan for my amusement. I've been great pleasure on that.
Or if you'd get any WD-40 for that camera
tripod,
then that would really help as well. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's us done for this one. So we'll see you next episode. And would anyone like to say the obvious thing here?
See you soon, Space Cowboy.
Right, okay.
Easy come, easy go.
See.
Easy come, easy go.
Did one of the episodes not have a different ending?
Yeah, the third one was easy come, easy go.
That's why I said that.
I think that's what